So it's a nice day today, a bit chilly, but we've just had nearly just over a week of a cold snap where the days have been lovely on the whole, but the nights have been in the minus figures, either zero or minus. And it's put back a lot of the planting that I would have wanted to do at the end of March, beginning of April. So I'm just starting to do something that's really, really important, which is hardening my plants before I plant them out in the next few days. So I've been doing this during the day whenever I could. The problem's been that the days are really warm, so they put on growth, but the nights are really cold, so you can't put them out. And that makes the plants grow a bit leggy and a bit unwieldy sometimes. So although I haven't watered these, and I'm going to, these are some of my peas that are in the unwieldy category, which will be going out on Tuesday. So I've been hardening these off for the past 4 or 5 days. This batch are in the just okay. I mean, I'd like to have planted them when they were a lot smaller. And there are many other plants here. And then what I've been doing is bringing the tomatoes, peppers and chilies that I've left in the house down to the greenhouse, which is cooler. So I'm starting to cool them down to slow down their growth before I can plant them out at the end of the month. So in the next sort of week or so, they'll be moving from the house into the greenhouse, and there'll be space because all of this will be planted. Things like the brassicas. So I'm just going to get some tomatoes to show you. So when I potted these up, when I pricked them out and potted them up, they were growing as beautiful little stocky plants. But because I brought them in, they've got a little bit leggy. But don't worry too much about that, because when you finally plant them, you can plant them up to the first seed, past the seed leaves to the first true leaves. So you can plant them deep, because the stems of the tomatoes will grow roots. The most important thing is to harden them off properly, otherwise you'll lose them. And I guess these will go outside approximately the end of April, beginning of May. So when you start to harden off the plants, you need to bring them out for a few hours. Not in, if it's going to be a hot day, not in blaring sunshine, because that will damage the leaves. So dapple shade is great, or if it's a kind of slightly overcast day with a little bit of sun like it is today, that's good too. Bring them out for a few hours, then take them back inside, and bring them out a bit longer the next day, and then bring them inside. So you need to do that, elongating the time that they're spending outside until you feel that there's no frost coming, and it's not too cold that the plants won't survive. I mean, these plants have some cold tolerance, so I'm not too worried about them. And then leave them out overnight, and that's hardening them off. And that takes, on the whole, almost a week. So be prepared to start doing that before you plant your plants outside. The only exception to that is if you're planting outside from the greenhouse or from home, and you're planting into a cold frame, a cold greenhouse or a polytunnel, or you're putting some fleece or something like that, some protection over them until they kind of settle in. So don't plant from home or your greenhouse straight outside without hardening them off, because you do risk either checking them very badly, which means you set them back, they sort of sit in the ground and sulk for some time, and then they may decide that they will grow, or they may decide that they'll just die. Or the plants will just, as I said, sit and sulk and then take off. And that's not really good for the plant, really. So think about that and think about hardening your plants. We're still in April and I'm going to start sowing some additional seeds now because the nights are getting warmer and I'm beginning to get some space in the greenhouse. So I'm going to sow our summer pumpkins, or winter pumpkins should I say. I just love the look of Turkish turbans. We don't often have a lot of success with them, but I do love them as a pumpkin. So I'm going to grow a couple anyway. It doesn't matter if we don't get a very good crop. In the little Tupperware box here, this one, are some saved seeds from a butternut squash that we've grown for a couple of years. Now I know a lot of people say you shouldn't save the seeds because they won't come true. But we have done. They came true last year and they were delicious, and we're going to give it another go because we have no idea what this seed is. It was a plant given to me by another plot holder who grew it from something they picked up in a supermarket. But it was the best butternut squash I've ever tasted, and they're huge. So we'll give it another go, see what happens. And if it doesn't come true and they're not nice, then so be it. And then ushi curry, which we also love. It's a smaller pumpkin, but it comes a little bit earlier. And we just plant these squashes in between our sweet corn. And for the first time, I'm growing blue curry. Somebody said that that was really nice. So ushi curry we grow every year, but this will be the first time for the blue curry. They're slightly smaller than these, which is the Crown Prince, and they're our mainstay. We probably get 2 of these from each plant, roughly, but they are absolutely gorgeous. They store really well, and what's not to like about them really? So we'll be putting those in as our mainstay pumpkins. And then some sweet dumplings, because they're nice and small, make lovely individual portions. They're great for stuffing. I grow them over a bit of a trellis so they're out of the way, and also friends and neighbours like them, again because they're quite small and easy to handle. I'm going to grow some melons, and I've just put up a little bit of trellis work to grow these melons and some cucumbers up. They're both, last year we grew melons for the first time. We were very successful, but we didn't like the variety of melons. So I'm trying these 2 this year. So if you've got a recommendation, then let me know below. But I'm going to give these a try. We like a sweet melon, not too big. I did try some of the watermelons last year. Sweet Baby, I think they were called. We weren't particularly successful with them. We couldn't get them to completely ripen. So we're going to go back to these little ones and see how we get on. And some tomatillos. I usually have the purple ones, but I've run out of seed for the purple. But I got this packet of green seed as a freebie in a magazine, so I shall pop some of those in because they're great for some salsa. So I've got the pumpkin seeds that I showed you I'm gonna sow today, and I'll just show you just one lot because it's all the same for all of them. And I'll grow this Crown Prince. Let's just have a little look. I'm just trying to find a label for it. There we go. So there are differing views about how you might want to sow these pumpkins. Some people plant them straight into a pot, and some people grow in trays like this, which is what I do. Or some people have one big tray, plant lots of seeds in them, and then plant them up from there. But I think, for me, this is the better way. There's probably a little less root disturbance. So what I do is, so these are crown prints. Not many seeds really, given that it's £2.50 for a packet of seed. And then there's a view about how do you plant them. Do you plant them flat or do you plant them on the side? And there used to be a particular view that you should plant them on their sides like this because it reduces the risk of rot when you water them and when they sit in the compost. I don't have a strong view either way. I've always planted on the side, so I've just kind of continued to do that. But other people just put the seeds in like this and that's it. And they grow. So I think it's up to you what your choice is. So I shall pop these in to this the seed tray, like so. I shall then label it, and I'll wait till I've done the whole tray before covering them over and then giving them a good drink and then putting them somewhere warmish while they germinate, and then I'll take them out into the greenhouse. If I have some space in the greenhouse, I'll put them out sooner, but at the moment I don't, so they'll stay indoors for a little while and then go outside. So this will be our winter pumpkins, and also I'll grow, if there's space, I'll grow the melons in a similar way as well, and then just pop them into a pot once they germinate. Okay, so that's all of the pumpkins and squashes and the melons planted. With the melons, don't plant them as deep as you would the pumpkins. They need to be not quite as deep as those, but hey ho, you know, people sow seeds in all sorts of ways, and they come up. So just give things a go. But I tend not to because the seed is so much smaller, I don't plant them quite as deep as these. Okay. These bags of parsnip seeds have been sitting in my little boiler cupboard. We're 7 days on from when I've sown them, so I thought we could have a little bit of a parsnip seed review and see what they're doing. So in this bag I put the free seeds Sabre. I've never grown this before. It's a packet of seeds that was, I think when I did an order, they came as a free packet. So let's have a little look at how they're doing. Oh, that's a big hand, isn't it? So in here you can see the seeds have started to germinate. But, oops, sorry. The germination's fairly erratic. They're not all germinated, so these could stay a little bit longer, I think another few days, and more of them will have germinated in this pack. And in this bag, this is a bag full of Gladiator, and this is the variety I normally grow. And let's have a look. Sorry about the filming. I'll tell you what, I'll just roll the bag down. There you go. So you can see the Gladiator have germinated, are a bit more advanced. So I'm going to the allotment tomorrow and I will plant these up. So a lot of them have germinated, as you can see. And I'll just sprinkle that into a trench, just a small trench, and they'll do fine. And I think in a few more days I shall make sure there's some space to put some of these in. It'll be nice to see what the difference is. So that's our great parsnip seed reveal for this year.